Welcome to the joy of synthesizing. Together we're going to have fun making a little music. Today we're going to be using Korg Volca synthesizers. These are friendly little synthesizers which you can hold in your lap. I know not everyone at home has an easel to synthesize with, so you can just sit wherever you're comfortable and we're going to have a good time. So let's get started, shall we? Now, today we have a Korg Volca keys. It's an analog synth. It's about the size of a VHS tape. We'll place him right here on our easel. Right here we have a Korg Volca kick. It is a analog kick generator, also about the size of a VHS tape. And here we have the Korg Volca FM, the frequency modulator. Now it's also a lead synth, just as the keys is. We're going to place him right here. Now on the topic of VHS tapes, I just seen the new Wonder Woman movie for the first time the other day, and it really got me started on the topic of polytheism. With all of its story of Greek gods and whatnot, it got me thinking about polytheism, and I realized synthesizers are such a great and wonderful way for us to discuss the differences between polytheism and monotheism. And we've got some colorful neon cords here. Our synthesizers really like neon cables. And we're going to see if we can't plug these up. We have a Behringer micro mix we're going to run these into. As we're doing that, back to the topic of polytheism. You see, polytheism is this understanding where there are multiple gods, with each having their own morality and their own will. We'll take this copper cord and plug right into this Volca keys. The Volca keys is a nice gold and coppery color. He looks very good with this neon gold cable. Down here we've got our Volca FM. He's got a nice pink function button, so this soft pink cable will look very good on our Volca FM. And now, polytheism has multiple gods with their own will and their own morality, but monotheism is an understanding where there is a single unified God with a single will and morality. Over here, our Volca kick, it has these deep thump sounds that it produces, so we want a nice deep cable that'll match it well. So we've got this deep and rich purple. We're going to plug that straight into the Volca kick. We're gently going to take our cable. Oop. These cables are a bit of a devil. Sometimes you've got to get the devil out of your synthesizing cables, and there we go. Nice and easy. Now, we want to be able to hear our music together, so we're going to be using one of these nice, joyful little stars as a splitter, so that I can hear the music with you. Next, we will turn on each unit. We just press and hold the power button in the upper left-hand corner. Now each unit has its own tempo. It has its own sequence that it will be playing, sort of like each god in polytheism has its own morality and its own will. We'll be starting our sequencing with the Volca kick. That's the analog kick generator. It will be used for our drum and bass sounds today. Now, if you're not familiar with the term sequencing, this is the term we use when using synthesizers, where we create a melody that the synthesizer will then use over and over again that we can build off of. We can take and modify that sound, and we'll be doing some very enjoyable and very fun things with those sounds. Right. Now in sequencing on the Volca kick, let's first press play to see if there's a sequence in there. And there is. So press play again to stop. Now we're going to press function, clear all. Now we've got a blank sequence. That's very good. Now let's press the step mode button so that we can decide exactly what steps in the sequence we will be using. So let's do 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 11, 13, and 14. Let's see what that sounds like. All right, that sounds good. Now we're going to press record, and we're going to add some pitches in with that. So we press record, and then we're going to add our pitches. All right, that sounds very nice. So we hold function memory. We'll put that in memory slot 16, so there we go. But we want to add some drum sounds in there too, so let's take our function button and turn the motion sequence on. We're going to turn the time on the MS-20 resonator to 11, and then we're going to take and put our hands right here on this bend knob. And that's where we're going to be adding our drum sounds in. So let's press play, shall we? And record. There we go, some nice drum sounds, and we'll save that in slot 16. All right, so now we have a sequence put into our Volca kick. And now let's move on to the Volca keys. All right, let's hit play. We have a Blake sequence with the metronome on so we can hear that tempo. We want to internalize that nice little tempo. Now we're going to hit play again to stop. We're going to hit record now, and this moment we start playing, it will start recording. All right, so now we've got a nice sequence, nice, just joyful little sequence here in our Volca keys, but we want to save this. So let's turn off the record, let's turn off the metronome, and we're going to save that in slot 8. And now let's create a nice patch for this. So we're going to cut over to our unison mode, or excuse me, we'll go to, yes. Let's turn our detune up a bit. No, we don't want that much there on the attack. We'll turn our peak down, our VCF up. And now we have a nice patch put in there with our Volca keys. All right, now let's add in some joyful little chords to frolic along with our other sequences. So here on our Volca FM, we're going to press play. We've got these chords already programmed in there. Let's find another algorithm. And that's quite interesting. Let's turn our velocity down. Here we go. Let's modify our decay just a hair. All right. Now, let's see what happens when we play our other sequences together to see what sort of song we can produce. And you might notice immediately when you hear this that there's a problem. The synthesizers are not in sync with one another. And this is the problem with polytheism. When there's not a unified will or not a unified morality in life, people can find themselves all over the place. This is a very big problem. However, let's fix our polytheism with our synthesizers over here, the same way we fix the polymorality we may find ourselves in life. Let's look to something which is a bit more unified. Let's get out some sync cables and see if we can't get these 3 synthesizers to be really good friends with one another. All right, now let's sync these together. I'm going to sync out of the kick into the FM and out of the FM and into the keys. This will give them one unified tempo so that they can sequence together. Sort of like how the Triune God has one unified will, one unified purpose, and one unified morality. Now you notice that the keys, it is now in perfect sync with the kick. And there comes the FM. Let's change this algorithm back up and cut the velocity back down. Something nice and harmonious together, a nice sequence as they frolic together with one another. Very happy. While our core chord may not be so beautiful, the music that we can put together can be quite pleasing, quite satisfying to listen to. Now you may ask the question, why would anybody talk about polytheism in this day and age? But I challenge you, although many people may not claim that they have multiple gods in their life, they have multiple idols. They have different moralities for different things in the world. We may assume that when people have double standards or multiple standards that they may be hypocritical, but I think it's much more consistent with the notion that there are different idols in the world, and each idol has a different will, a different morality, and therefore it is treated differently. Many people may even claim that the Triune God is polytheistic, but that is not the case. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, they all have one will, one morality. They are unified. They are together as one. And that, my friends, is how we bring our world together in proper sequence. That's how we take our lives. We take our lives from where they're at to a better place so that everything can be in sequence with itself. We must have a unified morality, and that is my challenge for you today. I hope you've enjoyed the joy of synthesizing, brought to you by Kingdom of the Logos. And on that, have a blessed day.